RJ, how you doing? Big,
Again,
long question I asked you, and I'll condense it. One or two things you took away from Friday night.
I took away that Jalen Hurts actually plays at Oklahoma now, and that Lincoln
Mm-hmm.
Riley can make magic happen, in that 50,000 people still showed up to a game after he moved it 3 days beforehand. That is Iron Throne kind of will. That is kind of awesome to see. Maybe put him on the Iron Throne. Maybe, I don't know. Are you a GOT fan?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Bill Haston is.
Hey, Bill. Long time.
RJ. Hey, y'all.
Have you seen an episode of Game of Thrones, Bill?
Never.
I figured that.
Okay.
He does not strike me
you
as a
say
Game
that
of Thrones
though,
watcher.
that I'm this cultural
Degenerates.
void.
That's what
when
I'm
in
talking
fact
to right
No,
now. I'm talking to
I'm
degenerates.
I'm just busy.
You Game of Thrones. doesn't
You're
work.
busy, Bill? You're busy?
Yeah, I'm busy.
I'm not busy, Bill?
Oh no. But all right. So all right. While you watch Game of Thrones, like I play the guitar.
Okay. All right. No, that's fair.
You know, we just have different stuff.
Okay.
No. I'm not suggesting I'm busier than anybody. I'm just saying there's only 24 hours in a day, and Game of Thrones ain't on my. You know, and 100 people have told me if you watch one episode, you're hooked, and I believe it. I didn't even watch The Sopranos until it was, the series was almost at an end, and then I binged it and became a devotee of it. I love it. It's fantastic. But so one of these days I'll watch it. Just not now.
Fair enough.
RJ and I did have a text exchange regarding the depth of the OU that Patrick and I were talking about earlier. Just uncommonly crazy depth with quality
RJ,
target.
they can make trades in Cal.
Well, seriously, I mean, the unbelievable depth with viable pass catchers, right, RJ?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you made the point that, hey, I watched them, and the line of Mark Andrews to Grant Calcaterra to Austin Stogner could be legitimately one of the best in school history, if not one of the best we've ever seen in that position. And
Right.
I was like, hey, man, Lee Morris needs to be mentioned in that. And then you can talk about Drew Sanders in this 2020 class and what that could look like by the time it's all said and done. Yes, the run of wide receivers is kind of uncanny. Now, the wide receiver, they call it a receiver. It is an inside receiver. They don't actually call it a tight end, but it is a bigger body at that position. And with Jalen Hurts back there, I think it's going to work a lot like it did for Baker Mayfield, in that it's going to be his favorite target. I think that just the talent that you have there and the way you're going to be able to open up things down the field, you're going to have that skinny post. You're going to have that little in. You're going to have that little out there for you all day. And both, all of those guys can catch the ball and then run after the catch. Now, it's going to be really interesting to see how they split time with three really talented tight ends. So maybe you see some two tight end sets where the tight ends are basically just split out as inside receivers. That could be a lot of fun too.
And again, that causes matchup nightmares, especially with two bigger guys. I know that they're a different kind of tight end, but we've seen that a bunch in the NFL, two tight end sets where teams will utilize that to cause mismatches or cause matchup problems with the other team's defensive alignment. But yeah, the depth at the receiver, I'm just going to say depth at the pass catcher position is off the charts. There's going to be a bunch of guys who barely get to play, who, look, obviously would start at a lot of different places, and that's what OU's offense has done. You opened up with Lincoln Riley just talking about what he does. Differences with Jalen Hurts. Look, in a scrimmage where it's two-hand touch on the quarterback, there's probably he would have broken off some runs. This offense will be a little bit different, but nonetheless, break down a little bit of Jalen Hurts and what you saw with him from the run game, what we can ascertain.
I think you saw it all in the first play. He rolled out to his right on a naked boot, and he looked for who was open and running with him. I think you're going to see more of that than you saw with Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield because it's just natural to Jalen's skill set. But the thing that I looked at, and it's just he's a big dude. And by that I mean he's the biggest guy I've seen play quarterback at Oklahoma since Blake Bell. And whether or not you think it's a good thing or a bad thing, he's a lot bigger than the guys trying to tackle him. And that's going to look a lot different in the Big 12 because the Big 12 as a conference does not have big defensive players, right? This is an offensive league. So I'm really interested to see how much of the power run game turns into some of what they do at Texas with Ellinger and the way that they kind of used him as a battering ram. Now, I also know that the reason that he is at Oklahoma is to develop as a passer. and to put to bed that he is much more of a butcher than a surgeon, meaning, you'll trust the butcher to cut up the dead people. You will not trust the butcher to go into your head and do brain surgery. And those are the kind of quarterbacks that we're used to having in Oklahoma, surgeons. So we didn't see any of that really, except for a couple of throws. And he didn't miss a whole bunch of throws, but he had one pretty good one off his back foot where he just kind of put it up and said, hey, Trajan Bridges, go make a play. And I don't know that he's had that specifically at this level, because nobody has at Alabama, right? He had Jerry Jeudy, he had Henry Ruggs some of the time. But for the most part, the pass catchers on this team are the prize. And I'm getting to see him with CeeDee Lamb, right? And I think that's going to change things up. Getting to see him with Trey Sermon, that's going to change things up. So there's a lot that's still untold and is really vanilla. But, I mean, you got to see what you want to see, which is him throw the ball and run around a little bit.
You remember the the famous video, RJ, after Baker Mayfield transferred to Oklahoma, and I don't remember where they were. Maybe it was the bowl trip, but there was a little dance circle, and Baker steps into the circle, and he dances, and his teammates go nuts. They go crazy, and you think, well, man, this guy immediately has a lot of credibility and a lot of friendships in that clubhouse already. And then I watched Jalen Hurts the other day. I'm keeping binoculars on him at times when he's not even on the field, just to see how he interacts with his teammates, with his assistant coaches, and then he organizes, the little team picture, after he ran it into the end zone. And so I'm thinking, this guy, and that's kind of what I wrote too, is that this guy looks like he's been there for 3 years instead of a few months. But he just seems to have blended, not just as a player, but as a guy, just perfectly, seamlessly.
No, I think you hit it. I mean, it's also just part and parcel to the position. Baker Mayfield did it by doing the Dougie in a circle, in a dance circle. Jalen Hurts does it by, hey, we're going to run to the back of the end zone, and we're going to do our best Carter Cowboys impression at the 1988 Texas State Championship game with Permian Panthers. So I think a lot of that is also, you're the quarterback. And I wrote something similar to that, which is we got to see something from him that we didn't get to see at Alabama, because Lincoln Riley has built his program on flash, allowing the kids to have personality. You'll see dudes doing Dragon Ball Z celebration. You'll see them run to the back end zone and take a photo. He's really into letting guys be themselves, starting with Baker, letting Kyler go. And clearly he's told Jalen, hey, man, be the 20-year-old, right? Be the 20-year-old playing quarterback at OU. That's what we like. That's who we are. And he spoke to that. He said, look, I couldn't do that at Alabama. I would have got my butt chewed out. Well, it's a different sort of program. Different strokes for different folks. And this works for Oklahoma. And I'm interested to see what more of his personality he's willing to let us see. And by us, I don't just mean media. I mean fans, too. That was a big deal, just running toward the back of the end zone, showing everybody that you're having a good time as opposed to here to do a job. I mean, we're all here to do a job. But have some fun in doing it. And that was really nice to see.
Excellent stuff, man. Oh, I guess we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Hey, RJ.
Yeah.
Reference of the week on rolling the Dallas. The
Carter Cowboys.
Yes. Listen, one of my best friends in life. He was the coach at John Tyler, when they did the amazing comeback.
Right.
Remember the game at Texas Stadium against Plano East, and then after that he coached Carter High School and Coach Alan Wilson. So I've always been aware. Of course, he was at Paris, Texas in '88. But anyway, if you've never seen the 30 for 30 on the Carter Cowboys, it's one of the all-timers.
Right, and there's an entire chapter in Friday Night Lights that's just for them that's also very, very good. Appreciate that, Bill. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you, RJ.
Excellent stuff, man. We'll chat tomorrow.
All right, buddy.